Hello everyone, and welcome to another Warframe video. Today, I will showcase two fun builds for HILDRYN. One is for those players who values survivability over anything else, more like an immortal build for HILDRYN, and the other build are for players who prefer to use all of this frames kit, more like a build made for those who has caster mentality. The good thing is, you can achieve both of this build with 1-FORMA. Hell, you can play the immortal build with no FORMA at all, but if you want to try them both, then you can, by investing 1-FORMA on your HILDRYN. Okay, let's cut the long introduction and show you the builds. My immortal setup for HILDRYN looks like this. I know, it looks dumb, as it has low amount of shields. Honestly, you really don't need to have lots of shields, if you just want your HILDRYN to be endurance worthy. At 0 to 1-FORMA, all you need are mods that have shield recharge, and mods that some players deemed useless. HILDRYN don't need a lot of shields to tank. All she needs is her passive ability, which makes her invincible for 3 seconds. To maximize this passive, we must have low shield value, but high amount of shield regeneration. Remember, this passive has requirements, and that is, it will only activate again once our shield fully recharged. Now, shield regen alone won't make this build work sadly. You must have at least one max rank arcane Aegis, as this arcane synergizes well with your shield regeneration. In fact, we will be relying on arcane Aegis to proc and activate HILDRYN's invincibility all the time. Also, we will need a decaying dragon key on this build, so that our max shield value will be at 393. Streamline and stretch our personal preference by the way, and you can replace it with any mods that you deem helpful for this mod setup. But, let me give you the reason why I place both mods on my mod setup. It's because, at higher levels, like facing level 120 plus enemies, your max shield, which is 393, will deplete faster than it could recharge. That is why, we need HILDRYN's second ability, Shield Pillage, to act like a cushion, and give us that time to recharge our shield. In addition, it also gives us the time to make our arcane Aegis proc. So basically, at higher levels, you will be relying on your Shield Pillage ability, and that's one downside of this build. You may have infinite amount of survivability with this build, but you can't use all of her other abilities, because of the low amount of shields. Before we move on to the caster mod setup, I would just like to explain why I also have rapid resilience on this build. But first, I added antitoxin and flame repellent on this mod setup, as both heat and toxin are some of the elements that can directly damage my health. It's good, but the thing is, I need 2 slots and it only depends on chance. So, instead of denying those elements, I decided to just add rapid resilience. Not only does it lessen the time toxin and heat elements are on your health bar, but it does that also well with slash procs. Okay, now let's talk about my caster build for HILDRYN. By the way, this was the build I was using on my previous video. Congratulations to the one who guessed the build right. You deserve that 600 platinum. So, this build basically takes advantage of all HILDRYN's abilities. You just don't spam your second ability to survive, but you can also take advantage of HILDRYN's ability to support teammates, crowd control enemies, and as well as damage them. Compared to the immortal mod setup, this build will not be as good in terms of survivability, because it would definitely take long to fully recharge your max shield, except if your arcane barrier procs of course. However, this doesn't mean that this build is terrible when it comes to surviving enemy hits. This build can also tank damage, with the help of the large shield pool, the adaptation mod, and the aviator mod. Yes, aviator mod does work when you are using HILDRYN's Aegis Storm ability. Now, this mod setup is perfect for defense mission, and can go against level 100 enemies. It's even sortie viable, and it can do even that pesky sortie mission with energy reduction modifier. Well, HILDRYN has no energy. That is why she's not affected with that modifier. Speaking of mods affecting HILDRYN, I would just like to clarify those rumors that Augur mod sets, and as well as brief respite does affect HILDRYN. The truth is, it doesn't affect this frame, as she has no energy. In addition, there's Enuric focus won't do any good with her. So, it's best that you use other focus school that you see fit with your play style. Last but not the least, you can modify this build if you want. I did settle for 175% efficiency because it's really fun to use his 4th ability Aegis Storm. But actually, you can remove Streamline on this build, and add something like Fast Deflection for more survivability, or any other mods that you think will be useful for your play style. By the way, if you are kinda curious on this nuke build, then it's probably a build for her Balefire charger. I haven't finished it yet, and it may take some form to get it done. So basically, what I'm aiming here is to have as much power strength, and then efficiency, so I could maximize the power of her weapon. With this setup, her Balefire charger can achieve almost 90k corrosive damage. The good thing is, her weapon is kinda versatile, because it does have an innate electric damage, which means you can go for radiation, corrosive, or even magnetic. Aside from a nuke build, I'm planning to dig in deeper, and find out more builds for HILDRYN. This doesn't mean that the build I've shown you are weak, it's really strong honestly, with little investment needed, but, you know your squad leader, I like to test a couple of builds on a frame, to the point that it reach insane forma, just to share some fun builds that you can use. So that's it, that's how you can play HILDRYN like a boss, with little investment needed, a 1-FORMA build, that can be useful, and powerful, and really fun to use. Like I've said, expect for more fun HILDRYN builds in the future and expect for some changes, as right now, there are some part of this frame that are kinda clunky, like the way her Aegis Storm affect enemies. There are certain times that it won't lift enemies, when they are on lower ground, and there are times that you get stuck on Aegis Storm. Probably a bug that needs to be fixed as soon as possible. In addition, her Haven ability is kinda weird as it don't work like Trinity's Link. The moment you are blocked by an obstacle, then her Haven Link won't affect the enemy or ally. I don't know if this is intended, but if it is, then the only way to make it work efficiently is to fly around with her Aegis Storm, I guess. Nonetheless, HILDRYN is a pretty fun frame to use and I wasn't disappointed. I know there are more builds and synergy that I can come up with this frame, so be sure to watch out for it. Like always, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button, and subscribe if you haven't joined this awesome community yet. Good night everyone, Squad Leader signing off.